Okay, so imagine this. A woman sits down, turns on a recorder, ready to confess. But she knows this confession. It could mean prison for life, and not just for one death, for two. This really isn't just your average crime story. It's raw.
Absolutely. It's survival, love, and some really brutal choices a woman makes, basically to protect her own.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the testimony of Dolores Claiborne. She's from Little Tall Island, lived there her whole life.
Right.
And she's telling her story about the deaths of her husband, Joe St. George, and her employer, Vera Donovan. The wealthy, demanding one.
And we've got Dolores' own words here, the stuff she told the authorities, plus a few other kind of surprising reports that fill things out.
Yeah, exactly. So our mission really is to pull out the key insights from this story. It's deeply personal, sometimes even darkly funny, actually.
It is. And that story, like Dolores says herself, it starts in the middle, and she just kind of works both ways. Her voice, it's something else, really direct, no nonsense, full of that sort of colloquial wisdom you only get from living a hard life.
She definitely doesn't pull punches.
Yeah.
She calls her early life on Little Tall Island a sorry schoolroom. That phrase. It's so vivid. What does that tell us about, what shaped her early on?
It's incredibly telling, isn't it? That sorry schoolroom, it wasn't just a metaphor for her. It was like this brutal education in, disappointment. Started working at 16, married Joe, hoping for something better. She learned fast life wasn't going to be easy. It shows her resilience. It wasn't really a choice.
More like a necessity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just hardened by island life, the economics, personal stuff.
And speaking of those realities, her job with Vera Donovan starts way back in 1950. That went on for decades. How did that long-term thing change Dolores, even before Vera got really sick?
Right. Well, Vera Donovan wasn't just, a boss. She was a force.
Yeah.
Comes into Dolores' life, first just summer housekeeping, but then Vera decides to live on the island full-time, and boom, that relationship is set for decades.
And Vera was loaded.
Oh, yeah, inherited a fortune, used to being in charge. And Dolores, even though she's got this independent streak, she's kind of stuck by circumstance, but also, maybe, this weirdly complicated attachment to Vera.
That dynamic, though, it takes a big shift after Vera has those strokes. Late 60s into the 70s, Dolores goes from housekeeper to full-time paid companion. And she famously says it went from eating shit 8 hours a day to eating it around the clock. Oof, what did that really mean for her? How did it make things stranger between them?
It's striking, isn't it? Dolores says she didn't have to move in with Vera in '82. Says it was just, habit, cheaper island living.
Right, practical reasons.
But you feel there's something deeper there, a more tangled connection. It wasn't just a job anymore. It was all-consuming, looking after this woman who was getting harder, more dependent, sometimes just plain cruel. It really blurred the lines, caregiving versus captivity, almost. Eat away at Dolores' own life.
Which brings us to the shit Thursdays. That's what Dolores called them. Vera having these deliberate accidents.
A shit tornado, Dolores said. Just pure manipulation.
Yeah.
Degrading.
Awful. But what's amazing isn't just that she coped, but how she found a way to fight back in her own way.
Right. In the middle of all that humiliation, she figures out Vera's trigger, that specific whoop-zoop sound of the vacuum cleaner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Dolores doesn't just clean up, she uses the sound, turns the chore into this silent battle, a way to win back maybe just a tiny bit of dignity through sheer cleverness, shows her grit,
Definitely. But despite all that bitterness, and Dolores admits sometimes thinking about, hitting her, Vera's decline was also just sad.
It really was. She gained a lot of weight, went almost blind, had these terrifying delusions.
The wires and snakes?
Yeah, and thinking the sun would fry her even when it was raining.
It's such a strange mix, because even with all the conflict, sometimes Dolores would comfort her.
That's what's so complex. Maybe seeing Vera so vulnerable, her strong will just collapsing, it stirred something else in Dolores, not just resentment.
Holding her, pretending to cut imaginary wires.
Exactly. It's in those contradictions you see how deep Dolores' character really is.
And speaking of complex, that brings us to the darkness closer to home. While she's dealing with Vera, there's something much worse festering with her husband, Joe St. George. Let's shift focus to him.
Right. Joe, he was, he had problems. Drinking, gambling, put a huge strain on the family finances.
Dolores once thought love could fix everything.
Yeah, that youthful hope. But Joe turned out to be her hardest lesson in that sorry schoolroom of life.
And the turning point, the big one, was when he hit her with that stove length. Nearly crushed her kidneys. What happened right after that? It says so much about Dolores.
Oh, it was a definitive moment. Her reaction wasn't fear, it was fury. Immediate, brutal.
Her cream pitcher.
Grabbed the cream pitcher, smashed it in his face, then didn't even pause, pulled out a hatchet, and made it crystal clear, you will never hit me again. It wasn't just self-defense in that moment. It felt like she was reclaiming her whole self.
And the immediate consequence for Joe, impotence, which must have been humiliating for him.
Profoundly. Yet, publicly, he kept up this facade, bragging to his buddies about keeping his woman in line.
While privately.
Completely fractured, it shows that deep, insecure vanity, doesn't it? He couldn't face his own diminished power, so he just lied, built this fiction.
It just highlights how toxic he was.
Absolutely. Destructive character.
But then comes the discovery that's just sickening. The worst possible thing.
Yeah. She eventually finds out the truth. Joe had been sexually abusing their daughter, Selena.
How does a mother even process that? Finding out the man she married once loved.
It shattered her world, but it also reshaped it. She talks about this inside eye opening up.
An inside eye?
Yeah, like this new, ruthless way of seeing Joe, seeing him for the monster he truly was. No more illusions.
And seeing Selena withdrawn, ashamed, scared, even thinking about suicide.
That pushed Dolores, moved her from just enduring things to, well, to needing to act in a terrifying way.
And her resolve just hardened when she found out about the money, didn't it? The kids' college savings.
He'd moved it into an account just in his name. Total betrayal.
And she tries to get it back at the bank, talks to Mr. Pease, the manager, but he basically shuts her down. Why was that moment, his silence, so key?
Because it showed her how alone she was. Pease, this figure of authority, just upheld the status quo. He's the man of the house.
So legally, her hands were tied.
Completely. He wouldn't even acknowledge Joe had done something wrong with the transfer. It just stripped her of any official option, reinforced her powerlessness, and that fueled her determination. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about their future, his future.
So with all that simmering inside her, a plan starts to take shape. And strangely, it connects to Vera's obsession with the solar eclipse.
Right. Vera was fascinated by it.
How did Dolores link that celestial event to, well, to Joe's accident?
It was kind of chillingly practical, wasn't it? The eclipse meant crowds, people on the island, on the hotel roof watching, on the ferry.
Distraction.
Exactly. Chaos, a perfect cover, an opportunity for Joe to just disappear. An accident swallowed up by this big public event.
So the day comes, July 20th, 1963, island's buzzing. Dolores buys Joe some scotch. They sit on the porch to watch the sky darken.
And then it happens. The final confrontation.
It escalates fast.
Yeah, she confronts him about the money, and worse, about Selena.
And his reaction?
Violent. Grabs her throat, starts yelling, choking her. And for Dolores, that becomes her justification.
But she says it flat out.
It was self-defense no matter what the law might say. I know because I was there and the law wasn't. It's primal survival, protection.
So then, pretending she knows where the hidden money is, she leads him out back.
Towards the old woodshed and that rotting well cover.
Distracts him, pointing at the stars appearing in the weird eclipse twilight. Such a stark image.
And then he falls into the well.
What must that have been like for her, hearing him down there?
Horrifying, his cries echoing up, pleading 1 minute, promising to change, then cursing her the next.
Prolonged terror.
Imagine the strength it took to stand there, listen to that, and hold on to her resolve. The man who tormented her, begging for his life.
And then something really strange happens. She hears Vera's voice.
Yeah, she's adamant about it. Not in her head, she says, but clear as day. Vera Donovan's voice.
Saying what?
Brain him, you ninny!
Wow. Real or not, what does that signify?
It's incredibly powerful, isn't it? Whether it was stress-induced hallucination or just her own desperate will taking form. That voice from the other person who degraded her.
It was like the final push.
Yeah, a brutal kind of permission. Channeled all that rage, all that fear Joe still represented even down in the well.
And she acts on it.
She does. Takes a stone, brings it down.
The sound. She describes it so vividly.
Like a china plate on a brick hearth. Breaking his skull, his dentures. He falls back down. That sound would haunt her forever.
And right after, she faints.
Yeah. But when she comes to, her mind is chillingly clear. Methodical.
Covering her tracks.
Cleaning the broken eclipse viewer, hiding her torn slip, starting to plant seeds of doubt with friends, with the police about where Joe might have gone. Survival instinct just kicked right in.
So a week later, the search party finds the body, autopsy, and then the interrogation.
Right, and she's up against Dr. John McAuliffe, the medical examiner.
The canny Scotsman with drill bit eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's this psychological battle. Dolores knows the stakes. She's careful, chooses every word, only reveals what she absolutely has to.
And somehow, the official verdict comes back. Death by misadventure.
Remarkable, really.
She's not charged. Why not? What saved her?
A few things, probably. They couldn't really establish a clear motive they could prove. Joe's reputation wasn't great on the island anyway.
People knew he was trouble.
Right, and crucially, Mr. P's at the bank. He kept his mouth shut about the kid's money. That key piece of the why never came out officially.
But even though she got away with it legally, the cost, the price she paid was immense, wasn't it? Scars much deeper than any court case.
Oh, absolutely. The biggest one, Selena.
Her daughter.
Yeah. That lingering doubt Selena always had, it led to this estrangement between them. Selena becomes successful, moves to New York City.
But there's distance.
A huge distance. Dolores says her calls, her letters, they feel like duty letters. It's heartbreaking.
It's that paradox, isn't it? She did this horrific thing for Selena to protect her. But the act itself, the shadow of it, created this gap that could never be bridged.
Exactly. Selena escapes Little Tall, escapes the past in a way, but leaves Dolores behind with the weight of it all. Shows like trauma ripples out, even when actions feel justified. The emotional cost is just huge.
And there were other costs too, right? Joe Jr.'s nightmares.
Little Pete dying later in Vietnam. Dolores' own chronic back pain, like a physical reminder.
And she takes back her maiden name, Claiborne.
Yeah, a symbolic act, cutting ties with St. George completely.
Okay, let's jump forward to Vera's final chapter. She has that accidental fall down the stairs.
Right. And what's striking there is this sudden moment of lucidity she has. Clarity she hadn't shown in years.
And in that clear moment, she confesses her own past. Abuse by her husband, Michael Donovan.
Then she asks Dolores for something profound.
To help her die in her own time, not in the hospital. Echoes Dolores' own desperate need for control, in a way.
It really does. And Dolores, well, she gets the rolling pin, intending to grant Vera's wish.
But she doesn't have to use it.
No. Vera dies naturally before Dolores acts. It mirrors Joe's death, but crucially, it diverges. Dolores didn't actually do it this time.
So she's cleared in Vera's death, too.
Completely.
But then, the will. Another huge twist.
Vera leaves almost everything to Dolores, the bulk of her estate.
And it turns out to be, how much?
A staggering amount, $30 million.
$30 million. And what does Dolores do?
In this incredible, almost poetic move, she gives it all away. Anonymously. The New England Home for Little Wanderers. An orphanage. She said the money wasn't hers, it should have gone to Vera's kids who never visited, so the orphanage could have it.
Wow. Turning that stolen kid's money from Joe's betrayal into this huge act of good for other kids.
Exactly. It's like closing a circle, in a way.
So, looking back at everything, Dolores has these final thoughts, her philosophy, almost. She says, sometimes a woman has to be a high-riding bitch to survive.
Yeah.
And being a bitch is all a woman has to hold on to.
Yeah.
What does that really mean coming from her after everything?
It's her truth, isn't it? Hard one. In a world that tries to crush women, she realized that defiance, even being ruthless sometimes, was her only way to have any agency.
It's not celebrating being mean, then.
No, I don't think so. It's recognizing the harsh reality, the desperate measures you're forced into when you have no other power. That bitch persona is like armor, forged in fire, necessary for survival.
She also talks about the lingering memories, calls them dust bunnies.
Powerful metaphor. Those haunting things, the faces you never wanted to see again. She knows they're never gone. Not really.
She admits the price. The sound of the rock hitting Joe, his voice from the well, that china plate sound waking her up.
Those are the echoes, the constant reminders of what she did, the lines she crossed.
Yet she finds some peace, believes she did it for love.
Yes. The love a natural mother feels for her children. She insists on that, calls it the strongest, deadliest love. There's no bitch on earth like a mother frightened for her kids. That's her final justification.
So it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Dolores Claiborne, faced with these impossible choices in a world that offered her few good ones. She survived, but the cost to her soul, her relationship with Selena, immense.
Yeah.
How do you even judge someone who acts outside the lines of normal morality when they're facing something truly unspeakable?
It's tough. Really tough.
And it makes you wonder, Do we all make bargains sometimes? Deals we live with and pay for long after the danger seems gone? Things that linger, like those dust bunnies?